Good morning, afternoon, professionals. This is Tracy Brown here, and I want to talk about something that is super important to me, and I've found it to be when we're able and willing to go there with a loving, gentle touch. Sometimes it's, and when I say forceful, I don't mean it's like, just get this and I'm shaking you to get this. It's this level of like, it's imperative. It's going to change your life. And if we don't explore that, you're going to continue in this cycle with something else. Whether, let's say you're talking to your clients and, we have gotten this into intuitive eating. They can kind of do it, but they're still really spinning and looping on this idea that I can't let go of wanting that smaller body. This is where we need to talk about this topic. So Wisdom Wednesday is we need to talk to them about pride or hidden pride, the privilege, and the prejudice around that. So we talked a lot about the last 2 days, and I mention it pretty much every other video I talk about. I don't like to get wrapped up in a lot of like constantly talking about privilege, but it always needs to be named because other people, some people's recovery journeys are going to be long and more arduous simply because of body size, simply because of resources to care or whatever it is. And some people really, really struggle with their recovered bodies. They started their recovery, their eating disorder started in childhood, and they were mostly maybe their behaviors were restricting, or maybe it was like restricting and binging, but they maintain a relatively low, medium, or whatever's considered culturally kind of normal body weight. And then maybe as they come to you and they haven't fully gotten to either done no recovery or very little, it's going to be easy for you to tell that they're pretty clearly still caught up in like, I need to weigh less. Because maybe as they've gotten older, maybe now they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 70s, and their body isn't, they're still really trapped in this idea that they need to either maintain this current smallness or maybe I know I need to gain some weight, but not too much, whatever that is. Or it's like they've done some recovery and maybe they've had some dramatic changes in their body. They may have just had like a huge shift in their body weight to where they're not the small person anymore. They once were small in a smaller body, whether maybe more naturally or maybe just because of like lots of restricting or exercise. And we're usually the combination of two. And here they are later in their life and they're not the smallest person anymore. And they're really struggling with something's wrong, something's bad. I can't be like this. And it's really important to help them truly, truly look at, very gently and lovingly, their internalized prejudice around being in a bigger body. And that's always subjective to them, right? So it's not like some people don't have too much like dysmorphia or distortion. They know that like maybe they aren't in a bigger body, but they feel like they should weigh what they weighed when they were 16 or 14 or 18 or whatever, or what they weighed before they had 2 or 3 kids or whatever. So they're kind of still mentally stuck in this idea that like, well, I was there before, I can get there again. And to that I would say, well, yeah, maybe you could, maybe. What would you have to sacrifice to get there? Because it would be a giving up of something. Not giving up of who you are as a person, because your identity isn't wrapped up in that. Or is it? And if that's the case, how can I help you find out who you truly are? And if it's not the case, it's like, yeah, I get it. It's really tough to grieve maybe not being the culturally ideal if you're feeling like that's the only way you can feel like you're worth something. So what I want to talk about, besides that piece of it, is I tend to attract. I don't know about you all, or maybe this is just me, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. So please put it below if you notice is a theme. And I'm pretty sensitive to it, maybe because that was an issue of mine. Is that hidden pride? That whole thing where it's like I don't really care too much about like what people think or my body or whatever, but actually I do. Especially when I was younger. Because I think a lot of people who struggle with eating disorders have this this conscience. Like, I don't want to be vain. I don't want to be, and eating disorders aren't about vanity, of course. Don't get me wrong. but the pride could be about looks, or it could just be about what we've hooked up as thinness meaning, you know, so the value around it. So if I'm thinner, that means I'm more successful, I'm tougher, I'm stronger, I'm more powerful, I'm not going to be that emotional or soft or weak or whatever. And so there's this, you know, so there's this pride overlaying this of like, I'm not those things. So the judgment. So it may not be about like, oh, I need to have a six pack, or I need to be the nicest girl in the room, or I need to be the thinnest girl in the room, but I need to be smaller so that at least that's one thing that I think I can perceive that people value. Because without that, I don't know about my value, about my worth. And so this is why you want to address, if you're noticing like they're a person over here on one side of their life, really generous and loving and giving, but over here, they're, you know, lots of self-judginess and hatred. And then, you know, there's the things don't match. And so you want to point that unmatchedness and that incongruence very, very gently around, you know, like oftentimes what I see, I know something I struggle with was this thing of like pride. I don't really want to like admit that like I worry about what people thought about my body, but I really did. I don't know if that's true for you. And so that may be a way that you start that conversation. So basically this is all about, I don't want you to be afraid to go there. Our clients really need that, even though it's uncomfortable, maybe a little painful, but we can do these things gently and open up great big doors for them of you know, getting grounded, because a lot of our clients aren't gonna be able to tolerate the tough approach of like, I'm gonna be able to do that. So my approach is obviously direct and kind, and super compassionate, but I'm not gonna ever bulldoze somebody for like the places they're trying to hide, because that just makes people feel more shame and hide more. So I hope this video was helpful. Please leave your questions below about this topic. It's kind of, every time I talk about it with my clients, there's this level of like, oh my gosh, you can see that. And there's sometimes, I always get afraid they're going to be ashamed, but people always surprise me when really they feel relief. Like, oh, I don't have to carry this around, this secret. So if you've experienced this with clients or maybe within yourself, please comment below about that. You can even just put like a heart if you don't want to talk too much today, or come back and tell me that you saw the replay and a heart, just because I want to know, and I want to go deeper into this topic. I think it's really important, and it's one that we don't talk about too much, but I think it's really, 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 like I said, important to be able to not be afraid to go there around our clients' pride around what their food and body like container looks like for them. And if you can kind of like, again, gently call that out for what it is, they're more likely to like want to question it more, because sometimes they know all the things. They know about hereditary size, intuitive eating, non-judgment, all bodies are good bodies. Not all our clients, but a lot of our clients know about that already. But they can't make it in their bones for them. This is sometimes a doorway in for that. So I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.